Hey guys, it's Zeddy, and today I got this INIU power bank BI-B5, and the reason why I did this was because they were having a good sale on this. Actually, it was I think normally $34 or $35 on Amazon, and then they had another, like, a coupon you can just like put a check mark on, and I was able to get it for like around $28, which is a really good price for something that does 20,000 milliamp hour, as you can see. But not only that, but remember all those PD modes I was talking about? There's still a lot of cheap battery power packs that, do not do PD. They don't even advertise it, which means they don't even do it. I did already open this already before, but I wished I recorded when I did, because other than this plastic thing, everything is kind of the way they packaged it. This is the environmentally friendly plastic wrap that they do, that the ones that are going to disintegrate. But other than that, I was actually very impressed. First of all, there's a little sticker I had to peel off. And this kind of just opens up and pulls like that. Comes with a welcome guide. And just a little card. I'm not really sure what that is. Verify authenticity, I guess. Now, what surprises me is the size of this. I had seen 10,000 ones that are just as big, but of course they're not as thick. So they decided to just make it thicker and make the overall size about the size of a small cell phone, which is great because it handles and stores very well in my travel bag. So yeah, again, the only difference is I pulled out this already, but I had to rip it because it was not easy to pull out. And the reason why it wasn't easy to just pull out and keep intact was because this is the rubberized stuff, which I actually hate. That's the only thing I don't like about this. It's because my last battery pack was also made out of this material, and over time they get sticky because, aging and everything. It's no longer rubberized. It's become like a really sticky, oily thing, which you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Now, it also comes, and this is why I was very impressed by it. By the way, I'm on the floor, so sorry if you see anything gross. This surprised me when I looked in there. So it comes with a mesh bag that is perfectly sized for this, so I have no reason to not use it. Just keep it on. And it also comes with a USB-C to USB-A cord, and it comes with covers, so they didn't cheap out on that part either. Again, I never heard of INIU before, but I had people who actually, recommended this, so I decided to give it a try. Anker's, it's a big brand, similar specs, very expensive. They're going to be like in the 50s or 60s. So, yes, it's a Chinese brand though, but so is Basis, and that seems to be fine. And Basis is that car charger that I showed earlier. The thing that's neat about this is there's the power button there. It actually tells you the power, and it came with 82% out of the box. I did not charge this yet. Looks like there's an LED light to give you indication of what's going on here. Let me see if I can angle this better, or zoom. Can I zoom this? So the USB-C is, come on. Can you not focus? Oh, you're not gonna focus. Okay. Well, I can read it to you guys at least. So, this one is both in and out. That's all it says. USB-A is out 1 and another USB-A says out 2. And this one just says in out, that's the USB-C. Those are the 3 ports on here. But I did do my research. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get this is because the output. If you look at the specification here, now you can focus better, surprisingly. Right there, output USB-C 5 volts, 3 amps. That's about 15 watts. It can do 9 volts, 2.22 volts. I'm sorry, 2.22 amps. That's about 20 amps, or I'm sorry, 20 watts. Off the cuff math here, I'm sorry. So that's already the max. They already advertised that this can do 22 amps P. Here you go. 22.5 watts PD. That's the max it can negotiate to. So it can do it at both 9 volts and 12 volts. So if your device takes 15 volts or 20 volts, may not charge, may not work. So this was not designed to be a laptop charger, but of course if your laptop does at least accept one of these two, it can slowly charge back up if your laptop is completely off. But that depends on your laptop though. It did work on mine, by the way. Mine's an HP EliteBook. Let's see. So there it is. It even tells you USB-C. The input, and that's another reason why I like about this, the input is also PD 3.0 and also PD 2.0, and it can actually charge at up to 20 amps. Keep messing my words up in front of the camera. 20 watts. I mean watts. So it's a fast to charge in, or at least, yeah, it's fast to charge in, and it's actually fast to, push out its energy. Which by the way, I actually did buy a battery pack before that was only $20 at 10,000 amp. It was a digital, I forgot what it was called, DigiPower. There you go. I bought it at like Micro Center. 13. Actually, it was a 13,000 amp, $20. Problem was, it only supported 5 volts, 2.2 amps, which is around like what, 12 watts, both output and input. That would take forever to charge, and forever for for it to charge a phone. And not only that, it splits between the two, so it's only 1 amp each, because there was only 2 USB-A's on the other one and a micro USB on the input. Yeah, that was, nobody uses micro USB-B anymore, and I'm afraid keeping it around means that in the future, because I would use these battery packs very rarely, I won't be able to find the cable, or it's gonna be harder to find a cable. I'm sure it will still make it, but anyways, on to USB-A. You got quick charge, you got all that stuff too. USB-A doesn't do PD, of course, but you do have the quick charge standard, which is not really a standard. It's a Qualcomm standard, if you want to call it. It's proprietary to them, but because a lot of devices do use Qualcomm chips, a lot of phones, they may already have that built in. I unfortunately don't, because I use a Pixel, which famously do not use Qualcomm. So what I want to show too, and I did test this out earlier, and that's why I was actually surprised. Remember that basis was green across the board, as I was saying? Well, so was the battery pack, and then I can actually show you. So like I showed you all the specs, but here I can actually show you. Well, let's see if it works. I don't, nope. All right, so I need an external power supply for something like this. So I'm plugged into a wall wart that's just only supplying, you know, your basic 5 volts. This, by the way, up top is for your PC. It's also for regular power. Sometimes, so the reason why that's happening is it's trying to negotiate, and it goes through the negotiation process, but sometimes the source would have to reset itself, you know, every time it goes through that negotiation. And when it does that, sometimes it does not supply power, which makes sense. And of course, the tester would turn off. So you need an external power source. And this is another reason why I said this thing is finicky. The tester is finicky, is because sometimes instead of it starting to detect, okay, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's obviously not testing the battery pack. It's actually testing this thing right here. Or maybe it's mixing. It's mixing the two. What the? Yeah, this is what I mean by this thing is finicky. I know for a fact that this doesn't support quick charge or anything. So let's try it again. There you go. Yeah, that's. I have a. I don't know whether or not I actually like this thing. I mean, it's amazing that it can do all of this, but at the same time, it is so finicky to use. And I did read the manual. But anyways, PD 3.0 at 22 watts as advertised. It does support the Apple standard, which at the time was supposed to be amazing, at 10 amps, or a little over to 12 amps, or 12 amps. Watts, 12 watts. This was made for charging their phones quickly at the time, and also the iPad too. BC 1.2, that's your basic battery charge protocol. 7.5 is the standard. And that's just basic chargers, you know. The Samsung standard, 9 volt, 12 volts. Huawei has their own, 5, 9, and 12. This is why I say fast chargers are not just fast chargers, guys. You got to be very careful what they mean by fast charger when you buy a fast charger. Fast charging device. Another Huawei standard. Variable voltage from 3.4 all the way to 5.5. Amperage varies so that, you know, at the end of the day, it can supply 2.5 watts, or 2.5, 25 watts. Which I'm actually surprised, because this one was advertised at 22 watts PD, but it can actually do 25 if you use a Huawei standard. Interesting. Qualcomm, quick charge 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. I don't know what all the standards are. Does not do 4.0 plus, 5.0, or any of the OnePlus Warp charging standards. Or protocol, I should say. I don't want to call these things standards because they're not really standards. But still, to me, this is green across the board, just like with the Basis car charger. This right here is really cool for that. Now, I have a charger that has a display on it that tells you how much it charges, so, or how fast it pulls. So let's plug that in. And that's how it looks as it's charging. It's blinking the last digit. 19 watts. And you can even see it says 19 watt PD. So that's pretty cool. I actually like this little cable. It's connected to another power supply, and I will pull this out. The OHI. I'll link all this stuff on my description. I don't have the. I have the box of this is in the kitchen, but it's Again, it's a boring unboxing. I didn't do it because this was just a charger, but this also did all the things all the way up to 65 watts, and I'll show you that too with the tester, which is why I bought it. But one of the biggest reason why I bought it, because I already have 65 watt chargers in a form of laptop chargers. 65 watt this thing is, you know, and it's also USB-C. I also have one for HP that is a similar size, but instead of being a long brick like this, it's actually a little box. But the reason why I got this is also 65 watts, but look at how tiny it is compared to the other ones. I figure I'll use this one when I'm traveling so I can still charge up or use my laptop with it. So I'm going to plug this back in. And I'm going to plug this into the tester. And let's see if it does it without having to, well, yes it does. PD 3.0 at 65 watts. And it does all the other standards. Surprisingly, with the Huawei one, while the other one, the battery pack was able to do 25 watts, this one can only do 18 watts. QC 3.0 gives 12 volts max. I don't know, it's variable. It sounds like, I think Quick Charge 3 is variable. I'm guessing it's saying it's 12 volts max because this one did not do up to 12 volts. But again, Quick Charge 4, practically green across the board. I don't know what all the PE stuff is. I gotta read up more on this, but if you guys know, put it in the comment. Let me know. And of course, I'm just an enthusiast. I don't know everything about this stuff. I'm just showing stuff that what I know so far. And of course, there's so much more of you guys out there that are way more knowledgeable than I am about this kind of stuff. So please educate me too, as I'm trying to educate the others, you know. And this is not just education, but it's also, again, like I said, I do these videos for me to, hey, if I forget, I can look back at my videos and check. I also do this because, again, like when I open up a cassettes, you can only open it once. I'm doing this because if I lose this, or I am having, as you can see, it's not that simple to just test. I gotta get this cable, I gotta get this table, I gotta find this if I can even find it at the time I want to test it. But I do these videos because then I go, oh, what are the capabilities of this? I can look back at my video and see what's the capability of that charger. You know, here's another charger that I have that I bought. Let me pull that aside. This little one right here was a Rave Power. I think it was like $20 for 2 of these. That's why I bought them. They were really cheap. Also does PD. The amazing thing is, look at the size. And this is about the same size as the Apple phone charger, which only does, if I recall, 5 volts, 1 amp. So it's only a 5 watt charger, if I recall, or maybe even does 7.5. I don't know. But anyways, this little guy, same size. Guess how much? No, it's not me Asian asking about how much I paid. I already told you that. Yeah, that's an Asian stereotype, by the way. No, when I say how much watts? I don't know if you guys can read it, but it's this little guy can do 20 watts. Again, it's not the most powerful, but like 20 watts in this little thing compared to like the typical Apple one that can only do like what, 5 watts? That's a big deal. So here, I'm going to swap this out. And plug this into the wall. So now we're on that little brick. I'm going to go back. Automatic detection again. Oh, did it bug out again? It did. Okay. So I think Does that really do all of that? That little 5-watt 5-volt charger? Nah, here's what we're gonna do. It seems that we were supposed to power this up first, I think. Again, this is finicky, so I don't know what the order is sometimes. I know the PD switch needs to be, PD comm switch needs to be on. Come on. Let's try this again. Automatic detection. There you go. PD 3.0. So, oh, it actually does 22 watts. Now it is advertising as, I thought it was 20 watts. Maybe it is 22. Doesn't do the Samsung standard, but it does everything else. Even PE plus 1.1 does the Huawei up to 20 watts. So, and also about 12 volts max on the 3.0. So I guess the battery is a little limited on that part. So yeah, let's try the battery one more time now that I got this cable. Oh yeah, that's right, I gotta, again, it's finicky, so I gotta reset this, it seems like every time. I don't know, you guys tell me. If you guys have experience with this, let me know. Why is it so finicky? Am I using it wrong? Is mine defective? Okay, so let's try this one more time. Okay. Well, no, never mind. It does say 12 volt max. Huawei is all the way up to 25 watts, which I'm surprised. Again, it does the PE stuff. I don't know what that is, but it's apparently this one has more, or does more than the others. But okay. Again, for especially after with the sales, that's why I decided to pull the trigger. I could have waited, honestly. I just pulled the trigger on it because it was already on sale at 28 bucks. That's the lowest I've seen for something like this. So, and it was very highly regarded or rated. I'm gonna plug my laptop back in. That's where I pulled this 65 water from. Okay, so one of the reasons why I got this, by the way, is so that I can, and I don't know if I'm gonna do a review on this because this is way too complex. I have no idea how I'm going to even make a video of it, or how to talk about this. But it's this guy right here. Let me see if I can get the box so you can actually see. There you go. Oh, alright, I'm gonna have to handheld this. It is a travel router. And I got this one for $35, which was a pretty good price. I mean, right now what happened is these things, if you get the ones with Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E and all that stuff, they can get really expensive, like 100 or more. But this one is like a slightly older Wi-Fi 5, which is 802.11ac, not AX, but still good enough. 500 megabits is what my typical speeds are. I have a Wi-Fi 5 at home. I'm waiting for Wi-Fi 7 to come out because it sounds like it's around the corner. But that's basically what this is for, is to power this guy up. Now, the power it takes up is very basic. I can just use a basic charger, like a 5 volts, 1 amp, and it works just fine. Advisable to use 2 amps, so that 10, you get full 10 watts, but it doesn't draw that much power, so I don't really need this for that. I could have used that other one I just returned. But again, it's more about quality of life. I want something that I can charge quick, in and out. So this is why, again, $10 more for this, double the capacity, and have all the charging capabilities, all the PD protocols and stuff. I think it's worth it, the 10 extra dollars, especially the capacity. Here's one of my favorite parts. I didn't even show you guys yet, is the pouch. Typically when you have the pouch, you always have to pull it out to use it, but this I feel like I can just leave it in here because, as long as you know where the button is, it's mesh, so you can actually still read it somewhat. And they're holes, so if you move it around enough, you can actually make out the number. It probably doesn't come through the camera very well, but I can see it says 82%. So, and it leaves the ports open here. So, neat. I don't need another bag for this. I'm doing these go bags because it's kind of like, and I have a book bag that I pack. I'm not a digital nomad, believe it or not, but why? So why am I doing this? I don't know why. It's a good question. I think my mind, as I was researching this stuff, kind of like going, ooh, you can do this kind of stuff. So I got myself ready to do it. I can also use this as a secondary router for like VLANs to separate like dangerous or unknown, unproven devices from my network. So it's multiple uses. Also to get around the 5 megabits per second limitation of my cell hotspot plan. You connect it to this device. You can do some setting changes. Gets really technical. I don't want to get too into it. And that will make it look like you're actually using your phone rather than a hotspot device. And so because then your provider doesn't realize that it thinks that you're still on the phone even though you're using this thing, then you get full speed. And this thing basically also not only accepts the hotspot connection or connect to hotspot, it lets other devices connect to it. So it acts like a repeater, and that's why I bought that. But yeah, this review was really for the power bank. But as you can see, I go all over the place. There's a reason and rhyme and reason why I get some stuff. They all work together. This will work together with this. And if I'm going to be using my phone as a hotspot for this guy, I'm obviously going to want to plug this into my phone so it can keep it charged, because using the hotspot eats up battery like crazy. So that's it. And also that was one of the reasons why I deep dived into the whole USB-C thing. There's so much more than just a cable and a plug port and the numbers that you see on the box. You guys got to be really careful when it comes down to power. It is a smart power supply. So those old-fashioned variable power supplies, the universal power supplies that you get to adjust the voltage yourself, but of course the current is fixed, right? It's kind of like that, except there's no selectors anymore. Your device is now basically the one in charge to negotiate with the power delivery device. Hey, what's your capability? Hey, here's what I need. Can you provide it? Let's keep working out a protocol up until we find one that we can charge it at the fastest, whether that is at the lowest common denominator at 5 volts, at whatever amps you can provide, or give me some of the higher volts like 9 volts, 12 volts, 15 volts, all the way up to 20 volts. So these things, by the way, can go all the way up to 100 watts with PD 3.1. I'm sorry, no, that's still 3.0. 3.1 actually extends it all the way up to 180 watts, I believe. And that's where the framework laptop is going to go. By the way, I pre-ordered. And so waiting on that too. Again, another reason why I'm really into, why I deep dove into the whole USB-C thing. It's not just power. And in my last video you guys saw, it's about data too. This is a cable that can do surprisingly all the way up to 65 watts. I don't think there's an E marker chip in here though, so I'm surprised it can do that. But it's only USB 2.0 speeds, as you probably saw in my other one. Data transfer on SSDs are going to be super slow with this, so do not use that for data transfer unless you don't care about the speeds. You know, you just need it. Sometimes transferring something is better at slower speeds is better than not at all. So, you know, keep that in mind. They're good for charging, but not great for data. And even that cable that I had right here, with this does have an E marker chip on it. Yeah, data was only USB 2.0. I tested this. It's not the fastest for data. So you think a fancy cable like this would be great for data, but nope. Not for data, only for power. So there you have it. I'm getting a little long. It's already 30 something minutes according to my video, my camera. So I'll stop it here. A lot of information. Like I said, I do videos of my interests. It's not just cassettes. So if you're into that, and again, I will probably come back to cassettes. I know some of my guys like my channel mostly from that. Oh, by the way, another announcement. I am demonetized. Not because of my content, but because YouTube changed their rules. You have to have a certain amount of hours or something like that. I didn't really read too much into it. So now when I'm doing videos, when I say I'm not making any money, I'm not kidding. You might still see ads. You probably will see ads, but it's not, I'm not benefiting from any of that stuff. All that money is going to YouTube because that's how they roll. And there's a lot of people talking about, you know, YouTube creators talking about, you know, YouTube and their practices, but you know, because I'm only really doing it just as a hobby, it doesn't really affect me. When I was making money, it wasn't that much anyways. When I was monetizing, I was only making maybe like a couple bucks. At the end of the year, I want to say, I don't know if it's a month or year thing, or is it quarterly? I don't know how they do that. I don't even see money until months or years later. I don't know. It's not every month, so it's not like a very quick period of time in between. But it's only like 20 bucks, 40 bucks. No, less than that. It's like 20 bucks. So it wasn't like I was making gobs of money anyways before. It was kind of nice to have something, like a little surprise. But now I'm not getting anything. So now this is truly just, again, hobby. So like I said before, hey, subscribe. Please do. It does help. It doesn't help in terms of money. It kind of gets closer, of course, you know, to be monetized. Indirectly either, because, you know, YouTube seems to be recommending videos based on subscriptions and views and all that stuff. So weird algorithm. We don't know the black magic behind that, the black box of YouTube, but all that does help. The likes, the commenting, the, you know, the subscribing. So, and plus, because I don't make a lot of videos that much, one of the things I don't like about subscribing and notification is that, well, subscribing I can do. I subscribe to a lot of people, but I don't do notifications because every time they make a video, I get a notification on my phone, which I don't really care for. It's kind of like, I want to see your video when I sit back and relax in front of a TV or something, you know what I mean? Or where I got some free time, I'll scroll through my phone. But if you do a notification for my videos, your phone will be blowing up because I don't do this often, as you can see. And maybe even beneficial to you, both you and I, because that way you don't miss my videos, because I don't do it that often, and it won't come up on your feed if you just subscribed. Sorry, my voice is going. But yeah, I'm rambling on. Now it's 35. I gotta stop. Let's make it an even 35. It's like 34, 50. Nah, I won't do that to you. All right. Bye, guys.